So what was the scary thing for me when Karen first said she was pregnant? It was that the responsibility of the financial issue. It's like, because all of a sudden I'm the breadwinner, and which luckily I was in a good job, but the stress of that. And when I first had a baby, when I was 21, I wasn't working. I was trying to break into radio, and I was doing a lot of sort of hospital radio and voluntary work, and that was very scary. But even this time, even in a secure job, you still found yourself worrying. You're thinking, what if this job doesn't work out? Then what am I going to do? And the panic that sets in.
Totally agree. I think it's a tremendous motivator because you can't, lie on your laurels, basically. And you have to say, hold on a second, whatever it takes, extra hours or whatever else. But that initial thought is, I'm really going to have to buckle down. I remember that was a feeling I particularly got. And forever sort of thing. Yeah. It's not like, not for like 6 months or something. It's like, for, how long you got to support a child for? 35 years at least.
I think with hindsight, we really underestimated the potential financial problems. I mean, it was something we talked about, but initially, my initial reaction was, and it sounds flippant now, but I was, how expensive can a baby be? I mean, nappies can't be that much, can it? It's breastfeeding, so that's, no, we don't have to buy food for the first. Yeah, it really didn't occur to me what the accumulated cost would be. And also, because we're both freelance, we'd had periods before when one of us hadn't been working for a couple of months at least, so we had some experience of sort of having to rein ourselves in money-wise, but it didn't occur to me, A, how expensive a baby would be, and B, losing one income for essentially 2 years was a nightmare. And it was 6 months in, it was really heinous because, of course, then I was in a situation where I couldn't turn down any work. So I was doing jobs that I wouldn't normally have done, which was making me unhappy, which meant I was away for longer than I wanted to be away for anyway. But I had to do it because we needed the money. And it's like, you go, if you're freelance, you go a couple of weeks without money, it's very difficult.
So you were taking gigs or jobs that you wouldn't normally wouldn't do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like small gigs that I wouldn't normally do, that people wouldn't even approach me to do, sort of presenting jobs that I wouldn't want to do, stuff that wouldn't fulfil me artistically, and which beforehand you had the financial freedom to say, I don't need to do that. Now you found yourself saying, well, oh God, I've got to do it. So I mean, thank God for satellite TV at the time, because it was keeping you fed. But there were times when, because being freelance is fantastic in one sense, because it means there's somebody at home all the time. And when Ed was a bit older, I don't think he realised quite how lucky he was that sometimes both parents were at home during the day, and one of us was always around. But the financial strain it put us under was terrible. And of course, financial strain is one thing that really puts a strain on the marriage anyway, because if you've got a new baby and you're both worried about money coming in, because also being freelance, it's like you could do loads of work, you might not get paid for 7 or 8 weeks.
Well, it's 3 months, can't it?
It can be, yeah. So by the time the money comes in, it's gone too late anyway. So it put an enormous stress on us, and it's something we really underestimated. It didn't occur to us that it would be.
You see these
that much
reports,
of a
don't you, in newspapers which say that between the ages of 0 and 12, your child will cost you £250,000. You think, well, it can't possibly, can it? And actually, right. And it's for me, it was also the nappies thing. It was like, it's only stupid things, isn't it? But actually, you think, if we could just get rid of the nappies bill. We were trying to get them out of nappies about the third one was having to go about 6 weeks. Well, yeah, actually, fine now.
Why can't you be potty trained after 3 months? What's wrong with you? You're multitask.
You're absolutely right. You see reports like that, and I used to think, well, that must be somebody who's sending 3 kids to private school, who's got nannies, who's got all sorts of stuff. And it wasn't. But you think, where's the money going? Where is the money going? We're not buying baby food. I know we've got to buy it, and of course you've got to buy new clothes every 3 months, and you don't want to get cheap stuff.
It's amazing how quickly they grow out of their clothes, how often they have to be changed.
But the flip side of what was interesting as well, isn't it? Because now we've got to this stage where, yes, we've tightened the belt, and I'll take sandwiches to work sometimes when we know that things are tight and all that sort of stuff. And actually, the other thing that strikes me is how much money we've wasted as well in the past. So yes, there is a real financial strain. Don't get me wrong, but actually, the other part about it is actually, God, we've chucked some money away on rubbish over the years, and actually, it is possible in some respects to find some extra cash if you work hard at it.
I think if you now look forward as well, it seems like that it's not just children or babies and the expense. It's the expense you carry over to when they're 16, 17 and they're starting to go to university. They're clocking up so much debt. And now to get your child... I've been thinking about getting my children on the property ladder from the age she was about 6 years old, because I know if being in their position right now, it's impossible. Absolutely impossible. My goodness, in another 10 years' time, how the hell is my eldest child going to get on the property ladder?
Yes, because he doesn't want them living at home for the...
I'm really looking forward. Get them out, that period just before she was pregnant and afterwards. Hold on a second.
But that's interesting, because that's something that hadn't occurred to me, but you're absolutely right. I mean, Ed's 9, so I suppose it's only 7 or 8 years' time, and he's going to be thinking about either university or moving away. So.
It occurred to me about 3 years ago with this property boom and property going really quickly. I was saying, how the hell is Tamara going to be able to afford a property? And so, you know, for a long time, Shelley and I have been talking about buying this property, renting out just at the right moment when she leaves school, that she has something that she can just afford. That's hers kind of thing.
She's going to love you.
And, well, again, I think either way, she's going to come and see me in 10 years' time to give her a deposit or to do something. So I'm going to be under pressure either way. So either us kind of put away, it's amazing you can put away 20, 30, 50 quid these days, and kind of in 10, 20 years.
All the money you saved on nappies by getting her on the potty really quickly.
Well, that's it. And I think, do you know what, funny enough, it's about continuing that kind of, because that's how we sort of got our child into, if you like, private education. Well, private education is expensive, but when we were paying for nannies and things like that, you know, and childcare, it was kind of a natural progression with our first child for them to sort of use that money and put it into the
So you just carried on the budget?
We just carried on the budget for that. That was it. That was the idea, until it kind of dawns on you that, actually, state school's not that bad. Hold on a second. Muggins.
That nappies, only half jokingly, that nappies thing, it's one of my dad's biggest bugbears, especially when Ed was a baby. It's what he calls the whole nappy con. Because he said, he's exaggerating, he said, you had the same nappy for three months.
Terry
nappies. Still, yeah, you just washed it and you didn't have a nappy on when it was being washed, and then you put the nappy on. It's like, this whole business of, it's costing £25, £30 a week. It's just like ludicrous. I mean, as Dad said, not just from an ecological point of view, it's just the actual expense of it. It's just ridiculous. I mean, and there's nothing you can do. You kind of have to. You can't buy a second-hand one. You have to pay the price that it's in the supermarket.
You know what these do? The Terry nappies, and then you've got these very, you know, eco-friendly. They're not actually cheap to buy anyway. But the long term, it's like anything. The long-term thing, it does, but it's more labour-intensive. Yeah. So therefore, it's like, you know, we live in a day and age where everything's microwave and quick.
I think the cost of baby clothes, and I sound like my dad here, I know that, but it's a complete disgrace. It's a con.
You wait till school uniform kicks in.
Yeah, I bet.
I've got a girl going to in the second year of secondary school now, and a 3-month-old baby, so I've been hit both ways.
I used to go baby shopping for clothes, and obviously you want to go to the nice store. I'd say, Ali, how on earth can a romper suit for him cost as much as a suit is costing for me? I'm not having it. And also it means because while he's getting clothes, I'm not, obviously, which is the other problem.
Because actually we had 3 so close together and 3 girls. I was so pleased when the third one another girl. Great, no problem. And it's just gone, it's just filtered down.
But are they happy with that, though? The girls mind
the youngest one, actually, there's a real sort of dynamic between our 3, actually, between sort of the top one and her character and the bottom one. And I think there's people mention this sort of middle child syndrome that we've got, and Evie, our middle one, has definitely got that. She's not sure who her best friend is. She's fighting bits here and there, and so there is you have to be really sort of careful. And as long as we make sure that they each have something which is their own, it's fine. But the other thing I was wondering was as well on the terms of the finance. The decision we made when we had the third one as well was to move out of London, just to give them a bit more. So you're looking at, say, a 4 or 5 bedroom house in London, which is no way we could afford anything that was sort of half decent. So we made the move out of London. We moved down to Kent, which has been great for the girls, great for the kids. They've really enjoyed it. But you talk about the sort of financial strain again. But now, I'm coming back up to London, and there is this sort of this balance, isn't there, between getting it right.
There is. It's amazing because we've done a similar thing. We've gradually moved out to Kent ourselves, and in that way to give them more space, and you look for better advice. It's amazing how much you have to look forward to the future in order to justify certain things. And even when I remember when my wife was pregnant, she suddenly got free dental, prescription, and you suddenly go, oh, that's wonderful, what a great help, milk free for a year, that type of thing. All those little vouchers came in handy.
It's expensive.
Yeah.